Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chev Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Hidayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, chapter 7, I'm sorry, chapter 7, knowledge of the absolute, text number 8 onwards. So Krishna is talking about his opulences or his knowledge to Arjuna. Rasom hapsu konteya prabhasmi shashisuryayo pranava sarva vedeshu shabdakhe paurasham drishu. So to see Krishna in all his creation, like previous verse, he said, "I'm this creation is like pearls hung on a thread. That thread, Krishna says, I am." Means he's invisible. He is one who has eyes. Only he can see that, see his presence everywhere. So now he is talking about how we can see him, even though he is not conceivable by just anybody and everybody. He says, "O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water." So when we drink water, we don't see the taste of water, but without taste of water, water is useless. The real taste of the real water, that is purest water that is available in maybe in the mountains. He says, "I'm the light of the sun and the moon." So when we see sun and moon, we don't talk about the light, but without light, sun and moon have no meaning. I'm the syllable Om in the mantras. I'm the sound in ether and ability in man. So the essence, the real nature or real characteristic of everything, that is Krishna. In fact, that's only Krishna's energy. It's not even person Krishna himself. This verse explains how the Lord is all pervasive by his diverse material and spiritual energies. The Supreme Lord can be preliminarily perceived by his different energies, and in this way, he is realized impersonally. As a demigod in the sun is a person and is perceived by his all pervading energy, the sunshine, so the Lord, although in his eternal abode, is perceived by his all pervading diffusive energies. The taste of water is the active principle of water. No one likes to drink seawater because the pure taste of water is mixed with salt. Attraction for water depends on the purity of the taste, and this pure taste is one of the energies of the Lord. The impersonalist perceives the presence of the Lord in water by its taste, and the personalist also glorifies the Lord for his kindly supplying tasty water to quench man's thirst. So both impersonalist and personalist, they can approach water and appreciate the taste of water for different reasons. That is a way of perceiving the Supreme. Practically speaking, there is no conflict between personalism and impersonalism. One who knows God knows that the impersonal conception and personal conception are simultaneously present in everything and that there is no contradiction. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya established a sublime doctrine, Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference. So, light of the sun and moon is also originally emanating from the Brahmjyoti, which is the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. And Pranav, or the Omkar, transcendental sound in the beginning of every Vedic hymn, addresses the Supreme Lord. Because the impersonalists are very much afraid of addressing the Supreme Lord Krishna by his innumerable names, they prefer to vibrate the transcendental sound Omkar. So this transcendental sound Omkar, which so many people, they just like to chant Om or meditate on Om. All the yoga, uh, yoga gurus or yoga teachers, they like to chant Om. All the meditation people, they like to chant Om. For them, Om is a secular sound. But this Om, Krishna says, it represents me. But what's the difference between Om and the name Krishna? There's a difference. Om is like, if you want to understand, is like telling somebody, as a man, if we call him a sir. So he is sir. Sir is not very personal address to a person. But if you call the man by his name, that's a personal address. So Krishna says, I am Om, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. I am Om. Because Om, everything comes from Krishna actually. So Om also is representation of Krishna. But when we call him by his name, Krishna, that is different. That's a Harinam. Like Mahaprabhu says in Shikshashtakam that Krishna has invested all his energies in his holy name. But Om, we cannot say Krishna has invested all his energies. Om is a sound representation of Krishna. That's it. It's not Krishna himself. But the name of Krishna, when we say Krishna or Hare or Rama, Krishna himself is present in that name along with all his energies, all his emotions, all his moods. Everything is there in the holy name. So there's a huge difference between chanting Om and chanting Krishna's name. But some effect definitely it will have for those who don't want to chant Krishna's name. Like Prabhupada says, they are afraid, very much afraid of addressing the Supreme Lord Krishna. So they prefer to vibrate the transcendental sound, Omkara. But they do not realize that Omkara is a sound representation of Krishna. The jurisdiction of Krishna consciousness extends everywhere, and one who knows Krishna consciousness is blessed. Those who do not know Krishna are in illusion, and so knowledge of Krishna is liberation, and ignorance of him is bondage. And also Krishna says, Shabdake Porusham Nirano. I'm the sound in ether and capability of man. Means essence of everything is actually Krishna. So if we are hearing those who have this knowledge, like Prabhupada is writing, so knowledge of Krishna is liberation. Means when we are hearing about it, and if we really think more about it, without Krishna, there is nothing existing in the whole world. He says, I'm the taste of water. When we have to drink something, we're looking for water. When we have to quench our thirst, we have to look for water. Without water, we'll die at that time. And in water, he says, I'm the taste. Without the light of sun and moon, we cannot do anything. If there is complete darkness, no matter how many bulbs or how many big tube lights all these scientists produce, they cannot take out the darkness of the whole world. But just one sun, when it comes up, the whole darkness is gone. So that sun, the light of the sun, Krishna says, I am. And without the light of the sun, there cannot be any seasonal changes. There cannot be any vegetation on earth. We'll all die. We'll practically die without sun. There cannot be any rain because because of sunshine, the water evaporates from the sea and becomes cloud and it drops rain. Without the moonshine, there cannot be any taste in the fruits and vegetables. So what are we going to eat? What are we going to do without the sunshine and moonshine? That Krishna says, I am. Without hearing anything, what we'll do? Suppose we cannot hear anything, then we cannot learn anything. And Krishna says, I am the sound in the ether, Shabdake. And even if everything is there, suppose a person has no capability, he has no strength in his body to do anything, to hear anything, to talk anything, to digest anything. What is he going to do? And Krishna says, Porusham Nrino. I am the capability in a man. So basically, everything comes from Krishna. Those who know it, they approach everything in that way, that it is coming from Krishna. I have to use it in service of Krishna. I have to approach it in very grateful, devoted manner. Everything, every person will approach that way. So that is Krishna consciousness. Yes, chanting is good, service is good, reading scriptures wonderful, going to temple amazing. But the heart has to change. There has to be transformation of heart. That is Krishna consciousness. We have to be able to see Krishna. We have to be able to see Krishna's hands, Krishna's energies everywhere. That is bhakti. And we have to deal with everything accordingly. Text 9. Now Krishna further says, Punyo gandha prithivyam na cha tejaschasmi vibhavaso jivanam sarva bhuteshu tapaschasmi tapasvishu. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat and fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all ascetics. Punya means that which is not decomposed. Punya means original. Everything in the material world has a certain flavor or fragrance, as a flavor and fragrance in a flower, or in the earth, in water, in fire and air, etc. The uncontaminated flavor, the original flavor which permeates everything, is Krishna. That is Krishna. What is original in everything? Of course, nowadays, everything original is pretty much gone. It's all perverted reflections of, like, original fragrance of flowers you hardly find, and it's all made of chemicals these days. But this is what I am, the original fragrance of the earth. Similarly, everything has a particular original taste, and this taste can be changed by the mixture of chemicals. So everything original has some smell, some fragrance, some taste. Vibhavasu means fire. Without fire, we cannot run factories, we cannot cook, etc. And that fire is Krishna. The heat in the fire is Krishna. According to Vedic medicine, indigestion is due to a low temperature in the belly. So even for digestion, fire is needed. In Krishna consciousness, we become aware that earth, water, fire, air, and every active principle, all chemicals and all material elements are due to Krishna. The duration of man's life is also due to Krishna. Therefore, by the grace of Krishna, man can prolong his life or diminish it. So Krishna consciousness is active in every sphere. So Krishna says, I am the life of all that lives. So any person's life can be prolonged or diminished by Krishna's mercy. So that is Krishna. Further on, he says, Bijam mam sarva bhutanam vidhi partha sanatanam buddhir buddhi matam asmi tejas tejasvinam aham. O son of Pritha, know that I am the original seed of all existences, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. So original is him, he is the origin of everything. Intelligence of the intelligent. Sometimes we think I'm very intelligent, my child is very intelligent. But who's giving him the intelligence? Krishna. Prowess of all powerful men. And many times we become very proud of our strength, how much strength I have. But that prowess, that strength is coming from Krishna. Bija means seed. Krishna is a seed of everything. There are various living entities, movable and inert. Birds, beasts, men, and many other living creatures are moving living entities. Trees and plants, however, are inert. They cannot move but only stand. Every entity is contained within the scope of 8,400,000 species of life. Some of them are moving and some of them are inert. In all cases, however, the seed of their life is Krishna. As stated in the Vedic literature, Yato Vaimani Bhutani Jayante. Brahman, or the supreme absolute truth, is that from which everything is emanating. Like same thing, Brahmaji says in Brahm Samhita that Krishna is the source of everything. He is Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. Brahman is impersonal and Para-Brahman is personal. Impersonal Brahman is situated in the personal aspect. That is stated in Bhagavad Gita 14:27. Brahmano hi pratishthamaham. Therefore, originally, Krishna is the source of everything. He is the root. As the root of a tree maintains the whole tree, Krishna, being the original root of all things, maintains everything in this material manifestation. This is also confirmed in Vedic literature. Nitya Nityanam Chetna Chetnanam Eko Bahunam Yavidadhati Kama. He is a prime eternal among all eternal. He is the supreme living entity of all living entities, and he alone is maintaining all life. One cannot do anything without intelligence, and Krishna also says that he is the root of all intelligence. Unless a person is intelligent, he cannot understand the supreme personality of Godhead. So he is the root of all intelligence. He is the intelligence among all intelligence. And when we try to approach Krishna, he gives us the intelligence by which we can go to him. So that is Krishna. So understanding Krishna's position is very important for all the people who are trying to follow him, have some faith in him. Krishna is telling all this to Arjuna in the battlefield to make him fight. Basically, the idea is for Arjuna to fight. And Krishna is saying all this so that he has complete faith in Krishna. Of course, he had faith in Krishna. It's for us, so we develop faith in Krishna. And we dedicate our life in his service. That is required. Text 11. Ballam balvatam chaham kamarag vivarchitam dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamo asmi bharatrisha. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles. O Lord of the Bharats, Arjuna. The strong man's strength should be applied to protect the weak, not for personal aggression. Similarly, sex life, according to religious principles, dharma, should be for the propagation of children, not otherwise. The responsibility of parents is then to make their offspring Krishna conscious. So, strength of the strong. So, strong man's strength should be applied to protect the weak, not for personal aggression. That's why Krishna says, I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. Means strength of the strong for those who are in the mode of goodness, not for passionate or ignorant people. And then he says, I am the sex life which is not contrary to religious principle. Dharma viruddho kamosmi bharatrishab. Means, Prabhupada explains, similarly, sex life according to religious principles should be for the propagation of children, not otherwise. And propagation of children means then propagation of Krishna conscious children. So the parents, first they become Krishna conscious and they make their kids Krishna conscious. So that's the whole idea about this relationship between man and woman. Otherwise, I mean, we can, some people can say, oh, this kind of relationship, what we talk about is, it's a dirty thing. It's not dirty if it is engaged in the service of Krishna. Everything can be used in service of Krishna. Of course, if it is not engaged in service of Krishna, then it is breaking the principles. So that's how everything has its purpose, has its utilization in service of Krishna. ये च सात्विका भावा राजसास्तामसाश्च ये मत एवेति तान् विद्धि न त्वहं तेषु ते मयि. Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am in one sense everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me. So all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, ignorance, are manifested by my energy. So everything comes from Krishna. Krishna says further on also, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, means everything, material or spiritual, comes from me. So Krishna further says, I am one, in one sense, everything, but I am independent. Independent means personal Krishna, the Shyam Sundar form, he is not in everything. Everything is his energy, but he has a personal form also outside everything. So that personal form is what we have to have relationship with. But rest, everything we have to see. Everything is energy of Krishna, everything is related to Krishna. That's for sure. But Krishna himself is not there personally. All material activities in the world are being conducted under the three modes of material nature. Although these material modes of nature are emanations from the Supreme Lord Krishna, he is not subject to them. For instance, under the state laws, one may be punished, but the king, the lawmaker, is not subject to that law. Similarly, all the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are emanations from the Supreme Lord Krishna. But Krishna is not subject to material nature. Therefore, he is nirguna, which means that these gunas or modes, although issuing from him, do not affect him. So he is nirguna, he is independent, he is swarat. So throughout this text of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is trying to establish his position, so that we understand, or we don't misunderstand his position actually. And in Bhagavatam also, Shukdev Goswami, till 9 cantos, he kept on uh, um, talking about the opulences of Krishna, the Aishwarya of Krishna, of his different incarnations, to establish the position of Krishna before getting to Krishna's personal or very sweet pastimes of Vrindavan, and then Mathura and then Dwarka. But this is to establish the position of Krishna so we don't misunderstand Krishna. That is, so he is Nirguna. That is one of the special characteristics of Bhagavan, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That he is Nirguna. Nirguna means, doesn't mean no guna, he has no qualities. Or no, he's not, obviously he's not under the modes of material nature, but he doesn't have any quality. It doesn't mean Nirguna. Nirguna means he does not have any material qualities. Material modes of nature do not affect him. When he comes, performs his pastimes, it looks like, because we are materially inclined, we see his activities, we see his dealings with others in material sense. But that is completely wrong. Our activities are material, our thought process is material, our outlook is material, our relationships are all based on material nature. But Krishna is not like that. And so are his personal, intimate associates and servants. They all are spiritual. So if the gopis also, they had the spiritual body. So when they went to meet Krishna, there was no material attraction between them. There was no material relationship between Krishna and the gopis. Those who have materialized, those who have put on the glasses of material modes of nature, when they see Krishna and Krishna's pastimes, they think in their terms. But that's where we make the mistake. Krishna is not guided by our terms and conditions. Of course, he comes under the control of his devotees. But it's also said that Bhakt, Bhakti, and Bhagwan, they all are spiritual. There's nothing material in that. Of course, that Bhakt and Bhakti, I mean, it's a very high level of service and person. But regardless, understand that even if the Bhakt is in a material body, devotee is in a material body, he is not material. So that's why his relationship with Krishna becomes eternal. That's why his service to Krishna becomes eternal. But again, those who don't have eyes to see this, those who cannot perceive of this, those who are envious of devotees and of Krishna, those who have material disposition, they cannot see all this. For them, bhakti is doing the same thing that any other person is doing. But they cannot see, they cannot read the consciousness of a devotee. So that's why they make mistakes. Similarly, Krishna himself, when Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, only 9th chapter, um, when I descend in a human form, fools deride me. Fools deride me. Fools cannot understand me. They make fun of me. They put down my position. So that is fool. Avajananti mam moda manushim tanu ashritam. Avajananti, they don't know me. So to know Krishna, first of all, previous chapters, Krishna said to go take shelter of a guru, bona fide guru, serve him and ask him questions humbly, then he can answer the truth. He can reveal the truth to you because he has seen the truth. Text 13, Krishna further says, Tribhir gunamayar bhaverebhi sarvamidam jagat mohitam nabi jannati mamebhya param avyayam. Deluded by the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. Param avyayam. Inexhaustible. He never diminishes in his powers, in his strengths, in his energies, in his personalities, in his pastimes, in his dealing with the devotees. He never gets exhausted. In fact, all his energies are always increasing. The whole world is enchanted by the three modes of material nature. Those who are bewildered by these three modes cannot understand that transcendental to this material nature is a supreme Lord Krishna. Every living entity under the influence of material nature has a particular way of type of body and a particular type of psychological and biological activities accordingly. There are four classes of men functioning in the three material modes of nature. Those who are purely in the mode of goodness are called Brahmins. Those who are purely in the mode of passion are called Kshatriyas. Those who are in the modes of both passion and ignorance are called Vaishyas. And those who are completely in ignorance are called Shudras. So this This four classes of men are based on the modes of nature that they have acquired in this lifetime, not based on the family. And those who are less than that, means less than Shudras, are animals or animal life. However, these designations are not permanent. I may either be Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, whatever. In any case, this life is temporary. But although life is temporary and we do not know what are we going to do, what are we going to be in the next life, by the spell of illusory energy, we consider ourselves in terms of this bodily conception of life, and we thus think that we are Americans, Indians, Russian, or Brahman, Hindu, Muslim, etc. So this is the material conception of life. See, because of all these teachings, Bhagavad Gita is rated as the topmost literature, scripture in the world, actually. No other scripture talks about this thing, that we are not this body, you're a spirit soul. And if we become entangled with the modes of material nature, then we forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is behind all these modes. So Lord Krishna says that the living entities deluded by these three modes of nature do not understand that behind the material background is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. So avajananti mamula, tribhir gunmayar bhaverevi sarvamidam jagat. So the whole world is bewildered by the three, or conducting activities under the three modes of material nature. So that's why they do not know me. There are many different kinds of living entities, human beings, demigods, animals, etc. And each and every one of them is under the influence of material nature. And all of them have forgotten the transcendental personality of Godhead. Those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance, even those who are in the mode of goodness, cannot go beyond the impersonal Brahman. Impersonal Brahman conception of the absolute truth. They are bewildered before the Supreme Lord in his personal feature, which possesses all beauty, opulence, knowledge, strength, fame, and renunciation. When even those who are in the goodness cannot understand what hope is there for those in passion and ignorance. Krishna consciousness is transcendental to all these three modes of material nature, and those who are truly established in Krishna consciousness are actually liberated. So they are actually liberated because they are beyond the three modes of material nature. So three modes of material nature cannot or does not touch or do not touch devotee of Krishna or Krishna. Text 14. Devi hi esha gunamayi mammaya duratyaya mamevya prapadyante maya metam tarantite. This divine energy of mine, this divine means the energy that Krishna described in the previous verse, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. It's funny, Krishna here is saying this divine energy of mine, Devi Esha Gunamai. And previously it was Tribhir Gunamayar Bhavarevi Sarvamidam Jagat. So the divine energy, which is generally considered as spiritual potency or internal energy, it does not have three modes of material nature. So why Krishna is saying this divine energy of mine? Let's see what Prabhupada says in the Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable energies, and all these energies are divine. Although the living entities are part of his energies and are therefore divine, due to contact with material energy, their original superior power is covered. Being thus covered by material energy, one cannot possibly overcome its influence. As previously stated, both the material and spiritual natures, being emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are eternal. So, since everything comes from Krishna, from that perspective, everything is divine, everything is eternal. But now it depends upon us how we use it. So, just like material energy, like in the beginning of 7th chapter, Krishna says, these living entities, they are trying to control or trying to exploit the material energy, the 8 separated energies of mind. So when we try to exploit the material energy, it becomes material. It is material. When we are trying to serve that energy, although material, but it is coming from Krishna, then the same energy becomes spiritual. For example, this laptop or the phone that we are using, because the phone is being used, or laptop we are using, it's in the service of Krishna to give out message of Krishna. This laptop or phone is spiritual. It's not material anymore. It is completely spiritual. Of course, we cannot perceive of this, but at least theoretically we know that it is spiritual. So that's why Krishna here calls his energy as divine. Although it is, in one way, it's considered material energy. The living entities belong to the eternal superior nature of the Lord, but due to contamination by the inferior nature matter, their illusion is also eternal. The conditioned soul is therefore called Nitya or eternally conditioned. No one can trace out the history of his becoming conditioned at a certain date in material history. Consequently, his release from the clutches of material nature is very difficult, even though the material nature is an inferior energy, because material energy is ultimately conducted by the supreme will. So, material energy is inferior to this jiva, living entity, but but because it is conducted by the supreme will, because the order to the material energy is to cover up this living entity and keep him in the material world. So that's why this energy becomes powerful. That's why in the inferior energy or material energy or Bahiranga Shakti, external energy, although in nature it is not as strong, Jiva is stronger than this. But Krishna's empowerment is there, so this energy becomes stronger. Consequently, his release from the even though consequently his means a living entity's release from the clutches of material energy is very difficult, even though the material nature is an inferior energy, because material energy is ultimately conducted by the supreme will, which the living entity cannot overcome. So that's why Krishna used the word Devi Hiyesha Gunamai Mam Maya Duratyaya. My energy is very difficult to overcome. Inferior material energy is defined herein as divine nature due to its divine connection and movement by the divine will. Being conducted by divine will, material nature, although inferior, acts so wonderfully in the construction and destruction of the cosmic manifestation. The Vedas confirm this as follows. Although Maya illusion is false or temporary, the background of Maya is the supreme magician, the personality of Godhead, who is Maheshwara, the supreme controller. So that's why nobody can get out of the clutches of Maya. That's why he had to add the next line. Devi Esha Gunmai Mam Maya Duratya Mame Vye Prapadente Maya Metam Tarantite. But those who surrender unto me, they can easily overcome it. It's not difficult for them. Another meaning of guna is rope. It is understood that the conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. A man bound by the hands and feet cannot free himself. He must be held by a person who is unbound. Because the bound cannot help the bound, the rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Lord Krishna or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, can release a conditioned soul. Without such superior help, one cannot be freed from the bondage of material nature. Devotional service or Krishna consciousness can help one gain such release. Krishna, being the Lord of the illusory energy, can order his insurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders this release out of his causeless mercy on the surrendered soul. So he orders release out of his causeless mercy. Means for us to get out of this entanglement of Maya. First of all, on our own, we cannot do that. And when we pray to Krishna, it is Krishna's causeless mercy. It's not like we are doing something to be the cause of that mercy that we get out of this Maya. We don't do anything. We cannot do it. We hardly can do anything. So only thing, only hope a devotee has is lotus feet of Krishna. That's it. He orders this release out of his causeless mercy on the condition, on the surrendered soul, and out of his paternal affection for the living entity, who is originally a beloved son of the Lord. Therefore, surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is the only means to get free from the clutches of the stringent material nature. The words mam ev are also significant. Krishna says, Mame vye prapadyante, maya metam tarantite. Mam means unto Krishna, Vishnu only, and not Brahma or Shiva. Although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu, it's not possible for such incarnations of Rajagun and Tamagun to release a conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya. Only Vishnu is a master of Maya. Therefore, he alone can give release to the conditioned soul. The Veda Shruta Upanishad confirms this. Freedom is possible only by understanding Krishna. Even Lord Shiva affirms that liberation can be achieved only by the mercy of Vishnu. Lord Shiva says, Mukti Pradata Sarvesham Vishnu Revana Sanchaya. There is no doubt that Vishnu is a deliverer of liberation for everyone. So I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments? Because next two verses, the purport is very long. So we'll discuss it in detail tomorrow.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have three questions. Same thing. So, Prabhuji, material energy or Maya is like something which attracts us, or it's like something which imposes herself on us so that we are not able to go to Krishna.
Not imposes. Because of our desire, we are here. So she's like a invigilator or a examiner. So the test is there. She wants to make sure that we do our test properly. That's all.
So, Prabhuji, I mean, it's us who gets indulged in Maya.
Our desire, then Krishna tells Maya to take over.
Okay, Prabhuji.
See,
And Prabhuji,
we cannot force Maya to take over us. We cannot force that. So we desire, and then Paramatma is there. No? So Paramatma tells Maya, okay, this jiva, of course, whoever is in the material world, except the persons who were sent by Krishna, they all are under Maya. So Krishna's instructions to material energy is like that. to keep us here, so that we can rectify, we can prepare ourselves to go back to the spiritual.
And probably sometimes mind give excuses. In material or spiritual life. So Prabhuji, is it mind as an individual who stops us, or is it mind under influence of material energy? That's why he stops us.
Well, mind is under the influence because it's a material mind. We only thing is we have to spiritualize it. We have to spiritualize our intelligence. We have to spiritualize the mind, and then keep working on spiritual aspect of life.
Okay, and Prabhuji, last question. Prabhuji, does material energy always stops us from going to Krishna? I mean, like when one works for a material goal also, then also he requires will and determination. But then also we see that mind or material energy stops us from achieving the material goal. So, I mean, what is
Well,
the...
stopping us from achieving material goal has nothing to do with spiritual life. Well, that stopping could be that we're not qualified for the material goal yet.
Okay.
That's all. Maya actually it is energy of Krishna, and in Bhagavatam only it will come later on. It says that she is very shy of her Krishna because she says, I'm doing a thankless job of keeping the living entities in the material world. So she does not come in front of Krishna. She is always behind the back of Krishna.
Okay. And Prabhuji, I have also heard in lecture that Maya sometimes give the problems so that the Jiva turns toward Krishna. So, I mean, she helps also.
Yeah, because she is also servant of Krishna. So aim is to help. Aim is to make us more surrendered. Now, every jiva will not run towards Krishna when he comes in any problem. When he has any situation in life, every living entity does not run towards Krishna. So many people, they blame Krishna and they go more and more away from Krishna. But this is Maya's job there are two aspects, to cover the living entity and to throw the living entity in the material world.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
One question. So when Kaurava and Pandavas were on battlefield, and Draupadi was lamenting that time because she had that sense of losing uh, her husbands and kids also, which were fighting in the battlefield. So during that time, I think Krishna has come, and she asked that question. Krishna asked that why you're lamenting, and she said that this is the reason. So Krishna asked a few questions to Draupadi, saying that, uh, like the previous situations, like what Draupadi said to Duryodhana, or like she has passed him some joke, like Andega Putra Andha, so that kind of thing. And also she married to five husbands, rather, though she was inclined towards Arjuna, but because Kunti said that you divide it among yourself, so she has, all the five Pandavas have married to Draupadi. So Krishna had that question to Draupadi. Had it been, I mean, the situation could differ if she would have made her choice wisely. Like instead of marrying all five, married to only Arjuna and not taunting Duryodhana. If that couldn't happen, then probably the situation would be different. There won't be any Mahabharata. So what's your
First of all, I don't know if that is from real Mahabharata that is coming. Many times people post it on WhatsApp and we don't know what's the
Exactly.
source of that post.
Prabhuji,
And see, second, Draupadi got married to 5 brothers, not because Mother Kunti ordered. Mother Kunti was made to order under Krishna's influence. And then Krishna had explained to Draupadi. Krishna had come there and he explained that why she got married. Because in previous life she had taken a benediction from Lord Shiva. And she said, I want my husband to be like this, to be like that, to be like that. To be like that. So 5 qualities she mentioned. And Shivji said, well, there could be only two. I mean, either you have a choice of getting married to Krishna because he's the only one who has all these qualities, or you have to get married to 5 people because not a single person will have all these qualities. So that's also mentioned someplace that that's why she had to marry 5 husbands. And of course, ultimately, it all takes us to the final climax of Mahabharata. If
Prabhuji,
Draupadi hadn't insulted Duryodhan, then the things could have been different. Well, Draupadi Maharani is a pure devotee of Krishna. She's always under Yog Maya. She's never under Mahamaya. So Yog Maya takes over, and she makes them do things which they don't know what would have happened. Is that okay?
yeah, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Uh,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
okay. Prabhuji, here it says like Brahman is impersonal and Para Brahman is personal. So what do we exactly understand by impersonal and personal?
Impersonal means no form, no roop, no akar. So Brahm Jyoti has no form. And Parabrahman, because Arjun tells Krishna in 10th chapter, you are Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam. I mean, Parabrahman or something that is beyond Brahman is a person, Krishna. Example Prabhupada has given is of like a sun. Sunlight, sun disk or sun planet, and sun god. So sunlight cannot be there without sun god. So sun god, if you understand the person, then the Brahm Jyoti, which is light of Krishna, is impersonal. But most of people, they only understand, they think that impersonal is the supreme. But here Krishna, Prabhupada is quoting Krishna in 14th chapter that Krishna says, Brahmano hi pratishthamaham. This Brahman, this impersonal feature is also dependent upon me. Me means this person, me.
Okay. So impersonal means there is no emotion. That is what?
No form, so no emotions, no relationship. Like, how can you have relationship with light? Brahm Jyoti, which is impersonal, how can we have relationship? How can he have any emotions?
So Brahman is impersonal. Brahman, are we also not included in this Brahman?
Oh, that Brahmasmi, when we say na, Aham Brahmasmi, that Brahmasmi means I am spiritual. I'm not material.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm a spirit soul.
Okay.
Subhu Prabhu, you had raised your hand. Sorry, I could not connect with you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I got two questions. First one from the 14th verse, Daivi Esha Gunamai. The divine energy is material. It's material in nature. So I was just trying to connect because we are discussing 13th chapter in the office. Quite a complex sort of chapter. So this divine energy, I was trying to connect with two shlokas, one from chapter 7 and one from chapter 15. In chapter 7, Krishna says, Bhumi Rapu Analo Vayu Khammano Buddhi, they are my apara Shakti. and there is another one, Parashakti. And similarly, in 15th chapter, he says, Dva imau purusho loke ksharascha akshara evacha. So I got Shara and Akshara. But above that is Uttam Purusha. So is the Lord here, divine energy, is it saying that the Uttama Purusha energy is that divine, which when the Purusha with the matter, when he mixes with the matter, seated in the matter, then the Jiva that produces, they associate with the three gunas. So the original energy of Uttam Purusha is what he's referring to, the divine energy, and then the mixed with Prakriti is what the three gunas.
But Prakriti is also his energy.
Yeah, Prakriti, when he says Apara Shakti is the Prakriti, isn't it? And the Para Shakti is the Purusha.
Para Shakti is an internal energy. Apara is a material energy or external energy.
But when they two, because the gunas are there only with the material energy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Otherwise, the Lord, as he himself said, he is Nistraygunya.
Yeah.
So
true.
beyond all three. So only when it comes in contact with the material does the gunas get activated.
Gunas are material.
So when he says divine energy, this divine energy of mind, consisting of three modes of material nature. So the Lord is saying that the divine energy as a Uttam Purusha, when it comes lower down for creation of the world, then it becomes it is seen through the three gunas. So is that what he is trying to say here?
No, what I have understood is, see, all his energies are basically spiritual. Now, this external energy or Maya or material nature, it has qualities of three gunas. But because of her service, it looks like it is material. Why he had to tell this is divine energy? Because jivas, in previous verse, he said jivas are superior to my external energy. The Bhumi Rapu Analo Vayu, he said these are my 8 separated energies. And above that, there is another energy which is exploiting this material energy. So jivas are superior to material energy. But here he says it's very difficult to overcome. Jivas who are bound by material energy, they cannot get out of it. So the material energy has become stronger than jivas. And earlier he's saying jivas are better than or higher than material energy. So that's why he had to say this is divine energy of mine. It's only by my order she's controlling the jivas. She's keeping them under her bound, under her control. So until the jivas surrender unto me, they cannot get out of this energy. It's just her service is like that towards Krishna. Although she is divine, but her service is of material nature. And actually, like other places, Prabhupada, actually there is nothing material. There's nothing material. It's just how we use it, how our consciousness is, we make it either material or spiritual. Just like phone, we are using the phone in service of Krishna, so it is spiritual. What is material in it? Prabhupada was giving example of the mic, because he was using the mic to give lectures. So he said this mic is spiritual, it's not material. The temples, when we make a temple out of, these are the same, brick and cement and iron and the granite and other elements. Now those elements which we used in constructing temple and we are using in service of Krishna, are those elements now material or spiritual? They all are spiritual.
They are spiritual from the point of the fact that they have they have some consciousness in that. But ultimately, the material is still material, isn't it?
But now they are being in the temple. They are being used in the temple. So is that substance, is that spiritual or material?
It's like asking whether we are spiritual or material, because we are made of material.
Exactly.
We got consciousness.
Just because we have consciousness doesn't mean we are spiritual. We are being engaged in service of Krishna. So we are spiritual. Our consciousness is spiritualized or spiritual, so we are spiritual. So those elements, the rock, can be spiritual or can be material. How is it being used?
And continuing, Prabhuji, from this shloka itself, Krishna says in 12 and 13, in Ye Chaiva Sattvika Bhava, about my three modes of the state, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And he also says, deluded by the three modes, the whole world doesn't know me. Now, Krishna himself is responsible for creating the three modes. Now, when Prakriti, like I said, we were discussing the 13th chapter, there are a lot of questions as to when the Purusha and Prakriti come together, when Purusha was just full of consciousness and Prakriti was Mahatattva, the uncontaminated nature. It's only when they come together that the Jiva is formed and it starts developing the taste of the three gunas. Now the question is, Krishna himself is responsible for this creation. He knows that once the Jiva develops the taste of the three gunas, it will be, he knows exactly what, and then he again says, deluded by the three modes, the world doesn't know me. Now he himself is responsible for the delusion, because had he not been seated in Prakriti, the three gunas, the Jiva won't associate himself with the three gunas.
But whose desire was to come under three gunas?
But the Lord knows that once you are in the association of the three gunas, the consciousness start identifying with the material, and it is bound to be identified with the gunas.
Yeah, but it was Jiva's desire to enjoy separately from Krishna.
But so that is when he starts developing the taste, isn't it? First time when the creation, the question that everybody is asking, when the first time the creation happened, there was no jivas, there's no desire, because there's no coming together. So why did the Lord create in the first place? Why we didn't have the pure consciousness itself? Rather, why did we
material creation is also eternal. There's no beginning, no end. See, we try to understand everything by limitation of time and space, but there is material creation manifest and unmanifest, but it's eternal. Just like we are called Nitya Baddhas, eternally conditioned. So eternally conditioned, so there's no beginning. But at the same time, we were in the spiritual world at some time. So very hard to understand. When was the first time?
I asked this because a lot of questions are about why did the Jiva starts developing taste only when it comes in contact, but then before coming in contact, it didn't have that taste.
Yeah, we were in the spiritual.
For giving that taste?
We were in the spiritual world and we fell down. Now, like Prabhupada had answered this question is like, suppose we are in a cruise ship and we are enjoying the beauty, we are enjoying the scenery, enjoying the travel and everything. And we are looking over the deck and all of a sudden we found ourselves in the water. We fell down in the water. And the sharks are approaching us. So at that time, is it a wise question to ask, why did I fall down? Whether somebody pushed me, whether I jumped, whether I slipped, or what happened? Or should we try to get out of the water first? I mean, nevertheless, whatever the reason could be, we are in the water. We are in the material world. and we are suffering. So why not try to get out of here first? And when we go back, we can ask Krishna, why did you do all these things? But nevertheless, we are in the material world and we are suffering. Whether we develop the taste or Krishna made us develop the taste, or the material energy Durga made us develop the taste, whatever the reason could be. Let's get out of here first.
True. Thanks, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, any other question or comment?
No, Prabhuji, thank you so much for answering so well. Clarifying everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, thank you all. You all have a
But
wonderful
I'm
day. Hare
unfortunate
Krishna.
when you were here, I couldn't hear many of your classes personally when you were delivering them. I feel I'm so unfortunate now, but thank you so much, Prabhuji, for these online classes.
Thank you for giving me association, so we can have some discussion. Hare Krishna. Jai Shila Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare